What's up? What's up? What's up?
Hey, I got a few things I want to ask you, but actually it's four. Not really ask, but I want to talk to you about. Um, just an overview. So, I started off the day, and I was kind of loafing around a little bit before I went to work this morning, but I saw that Clint Capella had got traded. I was like, what? And he traded to the Hawks. So, I guess from your standpoint, is that good news or bad news from the Hawks?
I mean, I don't know how it could be bad news. I mean, how do you think it could be bad news? They were missing a presence on the board as far as rebounding. Of course, Trey, he throws lobs to Collins, throws lobs to Damian Jones, but Damian Jones not a good rebounder. Actually, he's a terrible rebounder for a guy's size, and Capella's one of the better guys in the league at rebounding. So from that standpoint, you got the offensive capabilities of getting easy buckets with the lobs, and on defense, on the glass, you got a player that he hasn't had a chance to play with or pleasure to play with someone who bring that skill set to the team. So definitely it's good from the house standpoint. It's just, in my opinion, it just make all eyes look at Lloyd Pierce. Uh, Not as much as this season, but especially next season coming out of the gate, barring any injury or any unforeseen circumstance. I think the training wheels are off. They are expecting to be contenders for a playoff spot next year.
So what kind of injury did Clint Capella suffer? Because I heard he's injured. So what's going on with that?
It's something about a bruised heel. Uh,
Bruce Hill, that's what
yeah,
it is.
Houston, of course, they jockeying for playoff contention. They were playing a little well without him. So from their standpoint and D'Antoni's standpoint, every game counts out in the West as far as the standings, and they had a feeling that they were playing better with their smaller lineup even last year in the playoffs, matching up against Golden State. Just really the past couple of playoff runs they had the feeling that they played better without him. The stats in a way sort of back that up, but with him on the court, his plus minus has always been one of their better ones. This regular season it wasn't that good compared to some of the other players, but
And do
uh,
you think that was more him this season or more Westbrook coming on?
Westbrook is the added factor that you got to consider, and I think that's why they also feel they play better small. You got Capella; he doesn't stretch the floor, so him and Westbrook on the court together. That's two non 3-point threats. I know Westbrook is a better shooter than Capella, but he's not a guy you want to win with shooting threes. That's not his
Yeah.
game.
So
So
when Westbrook is shooting, you can't yell knock down, as
the,
if you're trying to boost the ego up. But it's not a true statement about Westbrook, huh?
the other team probably yelling it. So he'll keep shooting it.
Yeah. Well, I hope it works out for the Hawks. I just hope that the Hawks don't have similar issue with having a player like him and like Collins, on the court at the same time and kind of taking away from the effectiveness of what they need to do as a team. I always been a fan of Capella. Since I saw him in the playoffs a couple years ago, and I thought he and Harden were a great Batman Robin combo. With Harden being able to use him to finish in the lane when he drove. So I just hope that will work out for the Hawks. But I had to be honest with you. I'm a little leery. I'm not as optimistic as you seem to be about it. But you're the expert on that.
Well, well,
So
well, Collins has really improved his 3-point shooting since his rookie season, and he's one of the better 3-point shooters on the Hawks, and also a move that hasn't gotten the same amount of attention nationally, but in Atlanta definitely has gotten a lot of attention here. Is they brought back Dwayne Dedman. Now the price they paid to get him to come back, they gave up Jabari Parker, Alex Lynn, two guys that probably weren't going to be on the team next year, but you might have thought you could have got a better return for them than Dwayne Dedman, but they're familiar with Dedman. They trust him. He's a good outlet as far as a big man, stretching the floor, shooting the three. And they also brought in Skylar Bissiere from Portland. So they're sort of retooling the front court. You still have Fernando, you still have Collins. When the Capella trade came down, when that news came down, or as it was coming down the last couple of days, Adrian Wojnarowski, who's a source for Travis Schlenk, the Atlanta GM, he also said teams were inquiring about John Collins and what the Hawks would want for John Collins, noting that the Hawks weren't likely to trade him. Uh, Travis Schlenk, he's a shrewd guy, and since Woj is a source for him, I wouldn't be surprised if the Hawks threw that out themselves to see what would teams offer for John Collins. So when you look at it next year, I wouldn't say Collins' spot on the team is 100% sure, but I like what I've seen from him last season and a half, and I definitely would try to keep him. I think the major upgrade, as I mentioned before, if you make any upgrades from now, it would be with the head coaching position. But I sort of like Collins and Capella playing together.
Well, it works out. It can be very dynamic. It just depending on again chemistry. Chemistry is a big deal for me. When I'm looking at basketball, me playing at a low level, my life as an amateur, but still playing a good number of games and relatively, consistent and organized. Um, I don't know. Chemistry is big, man. I mean, those guys are very athletic. Capella and Collins, both of them finish well at the rim. Collins obviously, has played relatively well with Trey. I just hope that, Capella can, find his foot and, Trey can find a way to, really incorporate him into, the flow of the offense because, Capella is not a guy that can really get his own shot. I would like for him to be more like a player like Siakam with Toronto, with that height and athleticism. But Siakam, he can go and get his own shot from time to time. But Capella's not, in today's league, he's not that guy that can do that. So he's going to be really reliant on Trey. So I think a lot of whether it's going to work out falls on Trey's shoulders. As it relates to how to deal with those two guys. Like you said, Collins is a better shooter, but he's gonna, I think Collins' role is gonna have to change, from finishing more at the rim as a result of lobs from Trey, to more being able to, knock down the Trey from time to time, create his own shot, off of wing play. So I don't know. That's just kind of what I see.
Collins definitely. I'm not worried about knocking down a shot, but his dexterity as far as creating his shots is still not that great. He makes clumsy moves a lot, and he
Yeah.
really doesn't have the agility to go around guys. But uh, once again, it's something Lloyd Pierce is going to have to work out as being the head coach. Schlink giving him the groceries. Now he's just got to make a good meal out of it.
Yeah. It's gonna be interesting. I definitely want to see it.
Yeah,
I want to see my hometown home.
yeah, y'all. And you brought up chemistry. I think that's why they're doing the deals this year, preparing for next year. This last half of the season, hopefully Capella returns from injury. They already talked about wanting to bring back Teague, who they acquired earlier. Want to bring him back for next year. I think this last half of the season was or is shaping up to be a test run for next season. Sort of when they got hot last half of last year, a lot of those guys didn't come back. Your Torian Prince, your Detman, now he's back, but Bazemore, although his playing time sort of diminished down the stretch, but I think they sort of learned the lesson from last year, and it's just year 2 or 3 of the rebuild, so no reason to panic.
Yeah.
But that chemistry, I think that's something they were thinking, making these moves this year, getting these guys a half a season to play with each other in anticipation for next year.
Well, like you said, I hope they stay healthy because this is year two at the very least of the rebuild, and they're still in the cellar. They still got one of the worst records in the entire league, not just the Eastern Conference. They're like battling for Golden State, seemingly for the worst record.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, we want to we want to see the Hawks fly high.
Yes, yes. The
Soon as
Collins
possible.
suspension,
Soon as possible.
the Collins suspension really crippled them. You look at the
Yeah.
East playoff standings, and basically 7 games under 500, you're in the playoffs in the East right now.
Yeah.
So I think if
Yeah.
Collins wouldn't have had the 25-game suspension, we might be looking at a different story. But it is what it is, and you still
Yeah.
have to win regardless. Cause Brooklyn, they don't have KD, and Kyrie missed a lot of time. So